The sky darkened suddenly, like someone had drawn a vast, black curtain over the world. At first, people thought it was an eclipse, an unusual celestial event. But then came the shadow shape, massive, angular warships hanging low above every major city, blotting out the sun itself. The air grew thick with a heavy silence, broken only by the distant hum of alien engines and the rising panic in millions of voices. In New York, crowds gathered in the streets, eyes glued upward. Some wept, others screamed in disbelief. Governments scrambled to respond, but their radio channels filled with static, and satellite feeds showed nothing but the looming shadows. No one could identify the ship's origin. The invaders made no immediate move, only broadcasting a message in a cold, emotionless voice that reverberated through every speaker, every phone, every screen. Surrender your planet. Resistance will be met with total annihilation. The words were simple, merciless, and in the moments that followed, a global paralysis gripped humanity. Military leaders conferred behind closed doors. Citizens locked themselves indoors, clutching loved ones. The world was frozen in fear, caught between disbelief and terror. But in the midst of this global despair, a handful of people refused to surrender. In a hidden bunker beneath the ruins of an old military base, Colonel Elena Rice paced restlessly. Her face was hard, but her eyes burned with determination. Around her, a ragtag group of soldiers, scientists, and civilians prepared for what was coming. "We don't have the luxury to wait," she said sharply. "They want us scared, immobilized. We move now, or we're finished." A young tech specialist, Jamal, tapped furiously on his laptop. "Their communications aren't just transmissions. They're psychological warfare. They want us to feel small, insignificant." Elena nodded. "Exactly. They think we'll roll over. They don't know humans." Outside, the first sound of the invasion shattered the silence. The deep, thunderous roar of alien dropships descending. They tore through the clouds like metal monsters, releasing squads of heavily armed troops. Cities erupted into chaos. In Tokyo, a mother clutched her child as buildings shook from distant explosions. In Paris, firefighters abandoned their posts to join frantic crowds fleeing toward subway tunnels. Across continents, the invasion was swift and brutal. But humanity's instinct to fight back flared. Elena's team moved out, striking at isolated alien patrols. They improvised weapons from scavenged materials, setting traps in abandoned streets and underground tunnels. Every skirmish was a brutal game of survival, one they couldn't afford to lose. As they fought, the invaders' confidence began to crack. Their technology was powerful, but rigid. Their strategies predictable. They had not counted on humans' chaotic unpredictability, the way desperation sparked ingenuity. One night, as Elena surveyed the city skyline, fires burning in the distance, she thought about what had brought them here. The aliens had come for Earth's resources, its unique minerals and energy reserves critical for their empire. They believed conquest was inevitable. They were wrong. Elena's voice was steady as she addressed her team. "They may have the ships, the weapons, the numbers. But we have something no machine can replicate, our spirit. They will regret underestimating us." The first battle had begun. Earth was bruised, but far from broken. The war for survival was only just starting. The alien troops hit the ground running. Their boots thudded against cracked asphalt, their weapons crackled with unfamiliar energy, and their helmets glowed with eerie cold light. They moved with ruthless precision, sweeping through the streets in tight formations. Each soldier was a living weapon, trained to annihilate without hesitation. At first, humanity's forces tried to meet them head-on. Entire battalions charged forward, only to be cut down in seconds. Conventional weapons barely scratched the invaders' armor, and their shields shrugged off the heaviest explosives. It was a massacre. But the invaders had made a fatal mistake. They treated humans like machines, expecting them to fight predictable, conventional battles. They hadn't counted on human unpredictability. In the ruins of a shattered city block, Alina's group watched an alien patrol pass by. Jamal grinned, holding a small device he'd cobbled together from scavenged parts. "Watch this." He pressed a button, and a pulse of scrambled signals burst out, causing the alien helmets to flicker. For a moment, the soldiers hesitated, their formation breaking. "Now," Elena shouted. They sprang from the shadows, firing makeshift weapons and throwing homemade explosives. The invaders were stunned, off balance for the first time. The battle was chaotic, a whirlwind of desperation and raw will. Humans knew every street, every alleyway. They set traps where the invaders least expected and ambushed with ferocity born from fear and hope. Word spread fast. In cities across the globe, pockets of resistance emerged. Ordinary people, shopkeepers, students, mechanics, picked up whatever they could and fought back. They used guerrilla tactics, striking fast and vanishing before the aliens could respond. Meanwhile, alien commanders communicated in sharp bursts of alien language, frustrated by the unexpected resistance. Their war machines were designed for domination, not for a war of attrition against an unpredictable enemy. Deep underground in the resistance bunker, Jamal and his team worked day and night. They studied captured alien weapons and equipment, searching for weaknesses. Slowly, they began to unravel the alien technology secrets. "It's not just brute force," Jamal explained to Elena. "Their systems rely heavily on a central network. If we disrupt it, their soldiers get disoriented, like they lose their edge." Elena's eyes narrowed. "Then we hit the network. Hard." But the aliens were not idle. They retaliated with brutal sweeps through residential areas, punishing civilians suspected of aiding the resistance. Entire neighborhoods burned. The world was being reshaped by fire and fear. In one shattered city, a young woman named Mira lost her family to an alien raid. Instead of breaking, her grief forged her into a fierce fighter. She joined Elena's group, driven by a hunger for justice and survival. Together, they planned raids on alien supply lines, sabotaging dropships and stealing vital supplies. Each success was a spark of hope, but the cost was high. Friends fell, sacrifices made. As days turned into weeks, the aliens began to question their own commanders. "Why can't we crush these humans?" One alien officer demanded. "They are disorganized, primitive, yet they fight with unnatural ferocity." The answer was simple. Humans fought not because they had to, but because they believed they could win. Their hearts burned with something alien technology could never touch: hope, courage, and the refusal to be conquered. One evening, as a cold wind swept through the ruins of a city that once bustled with life, Elena stood atop a broken building and looked out at the horizon. The war was far from over, but the tide was beginning to turn. "We'll make them regret every step they took on our planet," she vowed, her voice steady and fierce. "This is our home. We will fight, and we will win." The fight for Earth had only just begun. The resistance was no longer a ragtag collection of survivors. It was becoming a force to be reckoned with. Word of human successes against the invaders spread like wildfire, igniting hope even in the darkest corners of the occupied cities. But victory came at a price, and the war was beginning to reveal its true nature. Deep in the underground bunker where Colonel Elena Reyes and her team strategized, a quiet excitement filled the air. Jamal was hunched over a bank of alien devices they had captured during a recent raid. Screens flickered with strange symbols and flashing data streams, unreadable to anyone but him. "I think I've found something," he said without looking up. "Their communication isn't just radio waves. It's a complex web. Signals layered with encryption and feedback loops. If we can crack it, we might be able to predict their moves." Elena's gaze sharpened. "How long?" "Could be days. Maybe less if we focus all our resources." "Then we focus. This is our edge." The team worked tirelessly, fueled by adrenaline and desperation. Every day brought small victories. intercepted messages, disrupted patrols, recovered supplies. But it also brought losses. Alina buried several comrades this week, faces she had come to trust in the unrelenting grind of war. Outside, the world was changing. The aliens had consolidated control over major population centers, but rural areas became hotbeds of rebellion. In dense forests, abandoned mines, and mountain caves, guerrilla fighters trained in the art of stealth and sabotage. They adapted quickly, learning to use Earth's terrain to their advantage. In one such hidden camp, Mira sharpened her blade under the watchful eyes of a grizzled veteran. "You have fire," he said, "but fire alone won't win this war. You have to be patient, smart. Fight smart." Mira nodded. "I'm ready." But not all humans were united. Fear and suspicion ran deep, especially with the arrival of whispers, rumors of traitors within their ranks. Whispers that some humans were collaborating with the invaders, convinced that resistance was hopeless. The tension erupted one night when a trusted supply convoy was ambushed, not by aliens, but by a group of human saboteurs. Alina's command center buzzed with urgency. "We have a traitor," she announced grimly. "Someone is feeding them our plans." Betrayal cut deeper than any alien weapon. Trust fractured, paranoia spread. The resistance faced a new, invisible enemy within. Desperate for answers, Alina sent her most trusted lieutenant, Marcus, on a covert mission to root out the traitor. Meanwhile, Jamal pushed harder into decoding alien transmissions. Days passed in a haze of tension, every shadow a threat, every whisper a warning. Then, a breakthrough. Jamal's screen lit up with a decrypted message. It was a map, coordinates for an alien supply hub deep beneath the ruined city. The data hinted at something more. The aliens were extracting a rare mineral vital to their war effort. "This is it," Jamal said, breathless. "If we strike here, we can cut off their resources. It might cripple their ability to fight." Alina clenched her fists. "Prepare the strike team. This mission will decide everything." As the resistance prepared for one of its boldest assaults, Marcus returned with news. The traitor was revealed, a high-ranking official who had been feeding intelligence to the invaders in exchange for promises of safety. The betrayal shook the group to its core, but Alina refused to let it break them. "We fight because we believe in each other. Trust is fragile, but it's all we have left." The night before the assault, the resistance gathered in whispered meetings, their faces illuminated by flickering candlelight. For the first time, the war felt within reach of turning. Alina stood before them, her voice steady and resolute. "Tomorrow, we strike at the heart of their operation. We show them that Earth is not a prize to be taken. We show them that we fight as one. For our homes. For our future." The room erupted in quiet cheers, the sound a fragile beacon of hope. As dawn approached, the resistance prepared to change the course of the war forever. Dawn barely touched the horizon when the strike team slipped through the ruins. Alina led them, her face calm but eyes sharp with focus. The city around them was a skeleton. Buildings shattered, streets scorched, the silence broken only by distant echoes of war. This was no longer a battlefield. It was a graveyard. They moved quickly, shadows within shadows. Jamal carried a small device, humming softly, designed to interfere with alien sensors. Mira followed close behind, her hand never far from the grip of her blade. Every step brought them closer to the enemy's supply hub, buried beneath layers of concrete and steel. The entrance to the underground facility was hidden inside a collapsed subway station. Alina crouched beside the jagged hole, signaling the team to prepare explosives. As the charges went off, a deep rumble shook the ground. Dust and debris rained down as the team slipped inside the dark tunnels below. Inside, the air was thick and heavy, filled with the scent of oil and something metallic. Alien machinery lined the walls, glowing faintly with unearthly energy. The team moved silently, knowing that even a single mistake could mean death. Jamal scanned the area with his device, mapping the layout of the tunnels. "We're close," he whispered. "The core is just ahead." Suddenly, alien sentries emerged from hidden compartments, their weapons crackling with blue energy. The team reacted instantly. Gunfire erupted, echoing through the tunnels like thunder. Mira's blade flashed in the dim light as she took down one soldier before ducking behind a control panel. Elena fired with precision, her every move calculated. Despite their smaller numbers, the team fought with fierce determination. Every alien they took down was a victory. Every inch gained a step closer to crippling the invaders' war machine. Jamal reached the control room, the heart of the operation. Screens displayed streams of data, mineral extraction rates, supply shipments, and fleet statuses. With swift fingers, he began hacking into the system, downloading critical files, and preparing to disable the core. "We don't have much time," he warned. "The alarms will trigger any second." Just then, the facility's main doors slammed shut. Alien reinforcements poured in, their numbers overwhelming. The strike team was trapped. Elena barked orders. "Hold the line." "Jamal, finish the hack." Explosions rocked the tunnels as the resistance fought desperately to hold their ground. Mira fought like a whirlwind, protecting Jamal as he worked. Sweat and blood mingled in the grim struggle, but the team refused to yield. Finally, a soft beep signaled success. Jamal's device initiated a chain reaction, destabilizing the core. The facility began to shake violently. "Evacuate. Now," Elena shouted. The team raced through collapsing corridors, dodging falling debris and alien fire. Outside, the ground trembled as the core exploded, sending a shockwave that shattered windows for miles and plunged the alien fleet into chaos. The victory was immediate and brutal. Alien ships lost power, their patrols faltered, and communications went dark. Across the globe, resistance fighters seized the moment to strike back harder than ever. But the cost was steep. Elena's team was battered, several wounded. The strike had won a crucial battle, but the war was far from over. Back at the bunker, Elena stared at the flickering map of Earth, dotted with rebel victories and alien strongholds. The tide was turning, but the invaders were still dangerous. They were ruthless, adaptive, and more determined than ever to crush humanity's defiance. As the sun set, painting the sky with blood-red hues, Elena's voice was steady but heavy. "They thought they could break us with technology and terror. They were wrong. We have a weapon they don't, a will that can never be extinguished." Mira stood beside her, eyes fierce. "We're not just fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting for revenge." Elena nodded. "And for freedom." Outside, the wind carried the distant sound of battle. Earth was awakening. The invaders would soon discover that the planet they tried to conquer was no easy prize. The victory beneath the city had sent shockwaves through both sides. Humanity's resistance was stronger than ever, their defiance a growing beacon of hope. But the aliens, humiliated and furious, were preparing something far darker. A weapon designed to crush not just the fighters, but the very spirit of Earth itself. In a hidden command center deep within the alien fleet, the High Commander glared at holographic displays flickering with images of human rebellion. His voice was cold and sharp. "The humans are unpredictable, but they are not invincible. We will end this swiftly." Behind him, a massive device took shape, a planet-shattering weapon capable of annihilating entire continents in moments. The invaders called it a purge engine. Its power was fueled by the rare minerals mined from Earth's core, the very resource Elena's team had struck at. Back on Earth, Elena's group received troubling intelligence. Jamal had intercepted fragments of alien transmissions discussing the purge engine. The message was clear. The aliens planned to unleash it within weeks, devastating cities and crushing resistance in a single strike. The resistance had no choice. They had to strike first. But as the urgency grew, so did fractures within humanity's ranks. Rumors of alien sympathizers circulated like wildfire. Fear and suspicion twisted friendships and alliances. Whispers of betrayal cast shadows over every plan. In the tense atmosphere of the bunker, Alina struggled to hold her team together. One night, Marcus, her most trusted lieutenant, confronted her quietly. "We have a leak. Someone is feeding information to the enemy." Alina's jaw tightened. "Who?" Marcus shook his head. "Not yet sure. But it's high up. Someone who knows our movements." The betrayal was a knife to the heart. Alina knew that if the aliens learned about their planned assault on the purge engine, it would be suicide. Determined to root out the traitor, Alina ordered a lockdown and a covert investigation. Trust became a scarce commodity. Every conversation was shadowed with doubt. Meanwhile, Mira trained relentlessly, preparing for the assault. Her grief for lost family fueled her resolve, but even she felt the weight of the internal turmoil. Amidst this chaos, Jamal made a breakthrough. He discovered a hidden network within the alien communications, a backdoor in their encryption. If exploited, it could allow the resistance to infiltrate alien command systems, creating an unprecedented advantage. Alina convened a council. "This is our chance. We hit their command center and disable the purge engine before it's activated." But not everyone agreed. Some feared the risk was too great. "We don't have the luxury of waiting," Alina said firmly. "This weapon could end us all. We strike now, or we die." The team prepared for the mission of their lives, an infiltration deep into enemy territory, where failure meant certain death. As the resistance readied themselves, Alina couldn't shake the feeling that the traitors' time was running out, and that their betrayal might be far worse than anyone imagined. The night before the assault, under a sky heavy with stars and smoke, Alina looked at the faces around her, worn, determined, human. They were about to walk into the lion's den, armed with little more than hope and grit. "We fight not just for survival, but for the future of Earth," she said. "No matter the cost, we will not let them win." The first step toward the alien heart had begun, and the fate of humanity hung in the balance. Night swallowed the resistance base as Alina and her strike team prepared to infiltrate the alien command center. The air was thick with anticipation and unspoken fears. Every face told a story of loss, courage, and a hunger for justice. Tonight, they would either cripple the enemy's deadliest weapon or be swallowed by darkness forever. Jamal double-checked the hack device strapped to his arm, a slim interface designed to breach the alien network. "If this works, we'll control their systems from the inside," he said quietly. "But if I get caught, it's over for all of us." Alina placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "We trust you." Mira adjusted her gear, her eyes fierce and unyielding. "Let's make sure this ends fast." As they moved through shadowed ruins toward the hidden alien base, the oppressive silence was shattered by distant explosions, signs of the larger battle raging elsewhere. The alien forces were desperate, and the Resistance's strikes were biting deeper than ever. They reached the entrance, a massive, heavily guarded gateway embedded in the mountainside. Using stolen alien codes and Jamal's hacking skills, they bypassed security protocols and slipped inside. The interior was a maze of cold metal corridors and glowing alien tech. Every step was a calculated risk, the hum of machinery echoing like a heartbeat. Suddenly, the air shimmered, motion sensors activating. "Contact," Mira hissed, drawing her blade as a squad of alien guards appeared. The fight was brutal but swift. Alina's team moved with practiced precision, neutralizing threats and pushing forward. Jamal rushed to the main console room, fingers flying over alien controls as he initiated the hack. But just as the system began to crack, alarms blared. "They've detected us," Jamal shouted. Suddenly, a figure stepped from the shadows. A familiar face. It was Lieutenant Marcus. "Marcus?" Alina's voice cracked with shock and betrayal. His expression was cold. "I'm sorry, Alina. I had no choice." The room froze. The traitor's confession shattered their world. Marcus revealed he had been working under duress, coerced by the aliens to sabotage the resistance from within. His betrayal was the reason many operations had failed, and the leak that had almost doomed this very mission. "You'll never get away with this," Alina spat, raising her weapon. Marcus smirked. "Maybe not, but I'll make sure you don't stop the purge engine." In that moment, the base shook violently, the purge engine powering up. The team had to act fast. Alina lunged, engaging Marcus in a desperate struggle. Mira and the others fended off reinforcements as Jamal completed the hack. With a final surge, Jamal shut down the purge engine remotely. The alien command center plunged into darkness, systems failing one by one. Marcus snarled and flowed into the shadows, disappearing into the chaos. The strike team barely escaped as the base began to collapse. Outside, the first rays of dawn painted the sky with a fiery glow, a symbol of their hard-won victory. But Alina's heart was heavy. The war was far from over. The traitors' betrayal cut deep, and the aliens' rage would only grow stronger. As they regrouped, Alina vowed silently, no matter what it took, they would root out the darkness within and fight to reclaim their world. The battle for Earth was reaching its most dangerous and most crucial chapter yet. The dawn brought uneasy silence. The once imposing alien command center was now a smoldering ruin, its power snuffed out by the Resistance's daring strike. But the victory was bittersweet. Marcus's betrayal left scars deeper than the physical wounds. Back at the bunker, Alina paced restlessly. The weight of leadership pressed heavily on her shoulders. She couldn't afford to show weakness. Not now. Not when the entire planet depended on them. Jamal and Mira sat nearby, exhaustion etched in their faces. Jamal's hands trembled as he reviewed the data they'd salvaged from the alien systems. "The purge engine is offline, but this is just a delay," he said grimly. "They'll rebuild, and they'll come back stronger." Alina nodded. "We need to prepare for their retaliation. It won't just be military force. They'll try to break us psychologically." True to her words, the aliens launched a campaign of terror unlike anything seen before. Cities were bombarded not just with weapons, but with propaganda. Screens flashed twisted images of destruction, blaming humans for their own suffering. Their messages were designed to fracture morale, to sow doubt and fear. But humanity refused to break. In a hidden broadcast, Mira spoke directly to millions of survivors worldwide. "We are not defeated. We are fighting back. Every street you hide in, every scrap of hope you hold onto, it matters. Together, we will take back our planet." Her words ignited a fire across the globe. New resistance cells formed, fueled by determination and a refusal to surrender. Yet the traitor's shadow lingered. Alina ordered a thorough purge of anyone suspected of collaboration. It was a painful but necessary step to rebuild trust. Meanwhile, Marcus moved through the alien ranks, his betrayal now a weapon they wielded against humanity. He whispered lies and misinformation, hoping to fracture the resistance from within. Alina knew she had to confront this threat head-on. She dispatched a team to track Marcus's movements, hoping to capture him before he could cause more damage. But the war was changing. The aliens unleashed terrifying new machines, massive war constructs that towered over ruined buildings, armed with weapons capable of leveling entire neighborhoods in seconds. Resistance fighters faced these beasts with dwindling resources and rising desperation. In the midst of chaos, Alina received an encrypted message, a distress call from a distant human colony trapped under siege. Without hesitation, she organized a relief mission, knowing that every life saved was a spark of hope. The team moved swiftly, navigating through crumbled cities and deadly patrols. When they reached the colony, they found devastation. Children huddled in basements, elders tending to the wounded. The resistance fighters fought fiercely alongside the newcomers, united by a shared will to survive. As they secured the area, Alina allowed herself a rare moment of hope. They were far from victory, but each saved life, each defiant stand, was a step closer to reclaiming Earth. That night, Under a sky heavy with smoke and stars, Alina spoke to her weary team. They thought they could crush us with fear and betrayal, but we are more than survivors. We are humanity. And humanity never gives up. The war for Earth raged on, fierce and unyielding, but in the heart of the resistance, a spark burned brighter than ever. The sky was heavy with ash and fire, but it bore the faintest shimmer of dawn. After months of relentless battle, Earth stood on the brink of a decisive moment. The aliens, desperate and cornered, were preparing a last catastrophic assault, a weapon that could erase entire continents in seconds. Alina gathered the resistance leaders in the battered command room. Exhaustion marked every face, but the fire in their eyes burned brighter than ever. "This is it," Alina said, voice steady. "We either end this now, or humanity loses everything." Plans had been forged, alliances strengthened, and every resource focused on a single objective: destroy the alien flagship orbiting Earth. Inside that ship was the control system for the final weapon. Taking it out meant crippling the invaders' ability to strike again. The mission was nearly suicidal. A small strike team, including Alina, Mira, and Jamal, volunteered for the assault. Their goal: infiltrate the flagship, plant explosives, and escape before the ship was destroyed. As the shuttle approached the alien vessel, tension twisted inside Alina's chest. The ship was a fortress, towering, armored, and bristling with defenses. But the resistance had found a blind spot in its patrol patterns, a narrow window to slip inside. Inside, the corridors were colder and darker than any battlefield they'd known. Alien technology pulsed ominously, and the faint hum of the purge engine's remnants filled the air. Time was running out. Mira led the way, her blade ready, every sense alert. Jamal moved behind her, fingers poised over his hacking tools. Alina followed, heart pounding. They fought their way through patrols and security drones, every encounter a test of skill and will. The closer they got to the control room, the heavier the atmosphere became, as if the ship itself resisted their presence. At last, they reached the core chamber. Jamal quickly began planting the explosives while Alina and Mira kept watch. The countdown was set, just minutes remained. Suddenly, the High Commander appeared, flanked by elite guards. His eyes burned with rage and disbelief. "You think this ends with your little rebellion?" he snarled. "We are evolution incarnate. You cannot stop us." The battle was fierce. Alina and Mira fought side by side, their movements fluid and deadly. The alien commander was powerful, but the resistance fighters' determination was stronger. With a final strike, Mira disarmed him, and Alina pinned him down. "Your invasion ends here," Alina said, voice cold. With seconds to spare, Jamal triggered the explosives. The ship trembled violently as the blast spread through its systems. Alarms blared, and the crew scrambled in chaos. The team raced back to their shuttle, dodging collapsing corridors and cascading energy bursts. The explosion rocked the ship, sending shockwaves into space. As they escaped into the atmosphere, Alina looked back at the burning wreckage, a symbol of their victory and sacrifice. On Earth, celebrations erupted. The alien fleets retreated, their grip broken. Humanity was free once more. But the cost was clear. Cities lay in ruins, millions lost, and the scars of war etched deeply into the world's soul. Alina stood among survivors, watching children play amid the rubble. She knew the road ahead would be long and difficult, but hope blossomed in their resilience. They invaded Earth, she whispered, and they regretted everything. Because humanity's spirit was unbreakable. Against impossible odds, they had won.